So good afternoon and welcome to S2H webinar on IBM Optim, Test Data Management and Data Privacy. Today's key presenters are Rajarajan, S2H Information Architect, and Balagopal, S2H General Manager of Business Development. Rajarajan has been involved in several successful implementations of IBM Optim solutions for various organizations across the world. He has coordinated with multiple teams to ensure smooth running of the project from phase 0 of the requirement gathering till the delivery of the data solution. He is currently working as the Information Architect for S2H India. Balagopal, with 14 years of experience in the IT industry, is currently working with S2H as the General Manager of Business Development and has performed diverse roles in customer service, sales support, account management, and sales early in his career. He has performed as a bridge for business delivery, both for the organization as well as for the customers. Dear attendees, we will be emailing you the link of this recorded webinar in next couple of days. Meanwhile, if you have any questions during the webinar, please type in the question box that you see on the right side of the panel or in the chat box. I'll be taking up these at the end of the session. Before we start off with today's topic, I would like Balagopal to introduce a bit about S2H. Over to you, Balagopal.
Thank you, Sanish. To brief you about what S2H is all about. S2H was started in the year 2005 in US, Silicon Valley. And ever since then, we've actually grown in strength. We are about 350 consultants with offices in US, India, UK, and Canada. And most of our customers are through client referrals. It's basically because of our extreme service culture, which actually helps us get more and more customers. Now, to briefly talk about what S2H offers in terms of IT services, we are basically into information lifecycle governance. We're also into Oracle technology and applications, business intelligence, product engineering services, and staff augmentation. To talk about what we do with Oracle, we basically are into implementation and support services with Oracle suite of products. We are into big data implementations with products like Hadoop and Vertica. And we also take up product development from scratch as well. And we place our staff across various companies across the world. To talk a bit more about what we do with IBM products, we are basically into the information lifecycle governance with IBM Optim. We are also the implementation partners for IBM Big Data and Guardian. And we do a lot of DB2 migrations as well. With respect to what we do particularly well with Optim is we are a product development arm for IBM, where we develop the connectors for the Oracle suite of products and other custom applications. And it is the first time in the history of IBM that such an product development was outsourced from the IBM labs, basically. And to talk about what we do, we also are into Optim resale and implementation as well. And we do implementation of data growth, data privacy, application decommissioning, and test data management. And as mentioned earlier, we are specialists in Oracle suite of products. And to discuss more about, or to explain more about what test data management and data privacy is all about, it's over to Raj now.
Thanks, Bala. Hi, my name is Raj. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar. What I'm going to talk about today is about Optim Test Data Management Solution and how you could leverage it to build and deliver high-quality applications fast using realistic and privatized test data. Today's organizations depend on enterprise applications to manage business-critical information to drive their business initiatives. It could be a financial application or a payroll system or a customer service CRM application, manufacturing application, and various other applications managing your data. And in turn, these applications rely on your database systems to store and manage the underlying enterprise data. Now, more than ever, companies face new challenges when designing effective testing strategies for their enterprise applications. Using incomplete or flawed test data leads to inaccurate testing, which in turn leads to application failure and business disruption. And no company would risk losing customers, market shares, and revenue by delivering applications that have not been tested thoroughly. And for this reason, companies place a high priority on end-to-end testing of their applications. An application should be tested for accuracy, reliability, and quality. Therefore, your applications teams within your organization must test in an efficient, repeatable, and accurate manner. They need realistic test data for testing business-critical applications and improving the efficiency of the application. According to Computer World, a leading IT magazine, buggy software or applications is costing the economy billions of dollars, and software defects affect the company's bottom line. Studies also show that costs go spiraling up and become very expensive to correct when defects are caught late in the development cycle. Additionally, more and more companies are using sensitive customer information in their test environments. This could result in increasing risks associated with protecting data and complying with regulations. And all this leads to very costly and embarrassing security breaches, which can also deteriorate your customers' confidence. And lastly, application teams spend around 30 to 50% of their time in setting up these environments rather than actually testing the application. Again, these time delays could have huge impact on companies' market time. IT departments within companies often lack the confidence about test data preparation and data usage within the testing discipline, and may not be very clear how to use and administer the data effectively and efficiently. This is where test data management comes in. By creating realistic test data, organizations can build quality applications. To do this, many organizations manually create their data, which is time-consuming and error-prone, or they would usually clone their large production database, which simply extends cycle time and significantly increases cost. And say you have about 5 to 6 non-production environments within your organization. Cloning large production database means you're instantly multiplying storage, maintenance, and license costs by at least 5 times. Instead, organizations should leverage the best practice of test data management to create test data. Test data management is all about creating targeted, right-sized, and de-identified test environments. Your test environments become more manageable, more reliable, and reduce turnaround time by speeding up testing and developing and delivering quality applications. IBM Optim Test Data Management Solution can help companies gain this competitive advantage. With this solution, organizations can make test data management a best practice, helping them to reduce costs, lower risks, and expedite delivery in 3 key ways. Number 1, automate the creation of realistic and right-sized test data, thereby reducing the size of your test environments. Secondly, you will be able to mask sensitive information to meet compliance requirements and for protection. And lastly, you can refresh your test data quickly and easily to speed up testing and deliver quickly. Next slide, please. With IBM Optim, companies could remedy its application delivery problem with a simple 5-step process that can be utilized across any industry. As for the first step, the company must understand what test data is needed for their test cases, including finding sensitive data that should be de-identified when creating the test environments. In reality, data is often scattered throughout an organization. Your customer details may reside within a CRM application. Your financial information may reside within a ERP system. And your inventory details may be within a custom application. But for effective testing, you will need to capture the end-to-end business process and associated data, which could be from a single application or across several applications. So the first step is really to find the data that you'll need for end-to-end testing of your applications. Next slide, please. The second step in the process is to subset the production data from these multiple data sources. With Optim, you could design your subsetting to ensure you create the right-sized, referentially intact subset of data from across various applications targeted to satisfy the requirements of your use cases or test cases. In this manner, subsetting creates realistic test databases, small enough to support rapid test runs, but large enough to accurately reflect the variety of production data. One other point I should mention is, as part of this automated subsetting process, you may want to create test data to force errors and boundary conditions for complete and comprehensive testing. With Optim, you could do this by inserting rows or edit database tables in the test environment to create any boundary condition and speed up your testing of the application. Next slide, please. Next, sensitive data is identified and then classified so that it can be masked prior to creating the test environments. This is to ensure that the information cannot be misused or stolen. Masking takes real data and makes it realistic, but fictional. So the development teams have meaningful privatized data in their systems. You may have a variety of privacy policies to mask various kinds of sensitive information. Now, in the next slide, we'll be talking about a couple of masking policies that Optim can provide. You have a variety of options in Optim to mask all kinds of sensitive data. You may choose lookup policies, which uses a lookup table to provide masked data. You have rule-based policies that uses built-in functions to generate masked data. And for complex masking requirements, you can define custom transformation routines or methods using programming languages like Lua scripting, C and C++ exit routines to apply masking logic that you would like to use to mask your data. Also, your masking should be intelligent. Your masking should be intelligent by ensuring the integrity of your masked data is retained. For example, if I mask a key in one place, it needs to be changed everywhere. And you need to keep the data realistic. For example, masking credit card information or social security numbers should retain certain characteristics that tells you that they are valid. They usually come with check digits, which tells the application that they're valid. And they may be fictitious, but valid. Next slide, please. So to give a recap, we have identified and targeted the right test data and sensitive fields from across all the applications. Then we created the right-sized subset based on an appropriate selection criteria. We then masked the sensitive information using various privacy policies within the subset and created multiple test databases. Now, the application development teams work on delivering quality application using this subset of data. During this phase of development or testing, teams tend to modify the data as part of their process, and test data often diverges from the baseline copy. This could result in a less than optimal test environment and may not facilitate accurate testing. And organizations today are looking to reduce the time spent on iterative test cycles. With IBM Optim, companies can streamline test data delivery by enabling testers and developers to quickly refresh the test data themselves within their environment, which was earlier created using Optim. This ensures that they always have the most relevant data possible at all times. It also improves operation efficiency by reducing the time to create the test data and provides more time to test. and enables the application releases to be delivered more quickly. Next slide, please. Lastly, once the company has refreshed test data, it can run the test cases and compare the test environment against the pre-test data. This allows the company to assess the post-test data for success or failure. By comparing the before and after results and finding the differences in the data within the database, companies can now go one step further than merely relying on the behavior of the application interface. Not all changes to the data can be seen on the application interface. And even if the application interface behaves correctly, the underlying data could sometimes be invalid. Using Optim's Compare view, you'll be able to quickly identify data anomalies or discrepancies and resolve the problem. So by implementing this 5-step process, using IBM Optim Test Data Management solution, you can improve your application quality and delivery by reducing cost, which is to intelligently subset and create realistic test data, reduce risks by masking sensitive information, and lastly, speed up delivery by refreshing test data through self-service. IBM InfoSphere Optim Test Data Management Solution works across all major databases and platforms, including distributed environments and System Z, and supports custom, legacy, and packaged applications. Next slide, please. So here are a couple of case studies. The first case study we have is about one of our largest telecom customer in the APAC region. This customer had many applications governing their business processes. Their main application was a CRM system that was tightly integrated with other networking applications that needed seamless subsetting across all of the applications to meet their testing requirements. Using Optim, they are now subsetting referentially intact data across multiple applications and reducing their storage requirement by over 8 terabytes and development cycle turnaround time reduced by 70%. They also had training environments for their CRM system, the data within which was earlier created manually to cover various business cases. But with Optim, they now have around 15 to 20 small subsets which they can use to refresh their training environment in a matter of a few minutes, cutting down all the dependencies and overheads that they once had. The next case is about a leading bank in the Middle East, which had a very diverse application environment with a variety of servers of data sources. They even had non-relational data files in their mainframe systems, which were integrated with RDBMS applications. In addition to their requirement of creating fast test data for their test environments, they were also looking for masking personally identifiable information consistently across multiple applications. Prior to implementing Optim, the bank had their own custom data scrambling scripts that took significant time to build and test if they ever wanted to create mask de-identified test data. With Optim Test Data Management Solution, not only will they be able to bring down their turnaround time of testing by 50%, but also they prioritize their multilingual sensitive fields, which were in multiple languages. So these are some of the advantages our customers are seeing at this point with Optim. Okay, any questions?
That was a great presentation, Raj. Okay, since we have reached the end of the session, we are open to questions now. Please feel free to type all your queries in the chat box or in the question box.
Okay, I see a question. Can this solution be used with Microsoft SQL database? Definitely yes. Optim does support Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, DB2, Teradata, Netezza, and some of the other databases as well. The other question that I see here is, how do I integrate two different RDBMS? Now, Optim has federated data support, which means you can extract data from two different databases. They may not be from essentially the same RDBMS system or the vendor. You could have Optim extract data from a DB2 database as well as an Oracle database and integrate them into extract files. That is very much possible. To answer, yes. We do integrations through referential integrity, which is relationships. There's got to be entities in these two databases which are connected, something how your applications are usually connected. So if you're trying to integrate two different applications, two different databases, you need to understand how these two applications are connected and use the same policy or the method, to build a relationship between the two databases. Yes. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions? Can data privacy be done without TDM? Definitely yes. It can be done without TDM. So essentially, when you ask, can data privacy be done without TDM, you're talking about implementing masking policies in your test environment or non-production environment. So all you need to do in Optim is try, define your masking requirements using Optim privacy policies, and then apply it on the same test environment. So yes, you can forgo the act of doing subsetting and still implement or mask your data. Hope that answers your question. Okay, here's another question. Can a data subset of Oracle e-business application be prepared online, or the solution is applicable on a clone of EBS database? If online can be done, does it impact production instance performance? To answer your question, yes, definitely you can perform the data subsetting in your production database. If you do not have a clone of your EBS instance, it's fine. And as far as the performance is concerned, Optim test data management is going to just extract your data, a subset of data, which is essentially select statements, and this shouldn't have an impact on performance. Again, we advise our customers to usually run the Optim processes during off-peak time, but since it's just extract from the production, it shouldn't be a problem. But if you're talking about data grid solution and where delete is involved, delete is essentially a very expensive DBMS operation. Extract should be fine. I hope that answers your question. So another question I have here is, do we have any user interface to visualize the test data? I'm not sure what you are exactly referring to here, but I assume you're asking me that is there a way to find or explore or browse through the extract file after Optim subsets from your production database? If that is, what you're asking, the answer is yes. Optim has a browse utility using which you'll be able to explore or browse through the tables and columns and values within them using, natively using Optim tool itself. Hope that answers your question. How can I check data extract status? Okay, here I have a question. How do I check data extracted is inserted in the test database? So when you actually perform Optim processes to extract data from your production environment or clone of production, it comes with a report at the end of the process telling you how many records or rows have been extracted into the archive file or the extract file. And similarly, when you try and insert into a target or a test environment, you have similar reports letting you know how many records or rows have been inserted into the environment. In addition to that, we have in addition to that, we have something called control file, which will tell you what is the result of insert. Let's say some inserts fail because there was the record already in it, then it will tell you that it is a duplicate row, which is why it was not inserted. So all such facilities are available within Optim. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, another question that I have here is, does Optim have compare report? Yes, Optim does have compare report. It provides, it lets you know the differences in database, before and after in two different ways. You could do this using the Optim tool, which gives the results within the application, or if you choose to export them, you could do so and put them in an Excel file or a CSV file. That is also available. Hope that answers your question. That was a great questionnaire session we had here. Looks like we have no more questions for the day. Thank you, Gopal and Raj, for presenting, and thank you, attendees, for joining us today. We have recorded this webinar. In next couple of days, we will be uploading it onto our website and also emailing the link to all the attendees here. Please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. You can reach out to us on the contact details shown on the screen. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.